Hi, thank you so much for joining me today for day 24 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life series 14. And today's sketch you can see in the top left hand corner there has been created by Tana Peterson. When I first saw this sketch, I was a little bit stumped because a diamond isn't something that I would normally use on a layout, but when I finished it, I absolutely love this and I can see me using this again and again. So it just shows sometimes a sketch really does stretch you, but also creates a new favourite layout. So I've pulled out some old stash today. I've only got one 6x6 paper pad, which is one of the Pink Fresh Studio collections. I'm just trying to see what it's called. Simply the Best. So I pulled out some papers from that paper pad that I thought would work nicely with this photo. The photo is myself and Amelia on my 40th birthday party. We'd gone to a local Indian restaurant with Leanne, Robin, Sophie, and obviously my family. And I just love this photo of me and Amelia saying cheers, so I just wanted to document that. So I chose the lavender coloured grid paper as my square background, which is a 6x6 square, hence me pulling out the 6x6 paper pad. And then the other pieces are also from that 6x6 paper pad. And I focused in on the navies because Amelia's wearing a gorgeous navy dress with pink embroidery on it. It's pink and turquoise embroidery, so I thought that would work really nicely. So you can see on my desk there, I've pulled out my very old ATG gun. I've had this for years and really didn't get on with it, but I pulled it out for another project. I decided that I wanted to try using it a bit more in my scrapbooking rather than the wet glue. It was a struggle. You'll see me doing that. I think probably it will suit me to use it for big pieces, but small pieces not so much. I'm left-handed and I don't know whether that's a reason that I struggle with it, but I just can't work out where the tape's going to go, when it's going to start, and I think it's just not precise enough for me. And then look, when I try and tuck this under, I knock everything out of the way and then things don't stick properly, and yeah, it was a bit of a struggle, but I got there and I'm pleased that I finished this layout at least with it, even if I don't use it again for any more. So just getting those layers stuck down, and you can already see I've started to deviate from the sketch. I tried my best. It was definitely a jumping off point, and I do, like I say, I absolutely love what I ended up with. But here I was trying to create those stripes on the left hand side, and because I had 6-inch paper, it wasn't quite long enough, and then I started building layers rather than the strips that are down the left. And like I say, I do love what I came up with, so the sketch definitely helped me to create this layout, and I'm grateful for that. So just trying to layer all this up, and then I am going to come in with the mixed media that you can see that Tana has put on the sketch there. I just wanted to create this as a block first of all, so that I knew exactly where the mixed media was going to go. And I've already pulled out what I want to use. I want to use Lost Shadow, which is a very, very subtle grey. I'm just putting it down on the desk now, and I've also pulled out a dark rimmed door script stamp, which I want to add there. So first of all, I'm watering down this Lost Shadow, which is a mistake really because it's so pale, you can barely see it. I've been using my roller, my brayer, to get it down onto the page. So eventually I just go into the ink pad and just brayer it straight onto the page, and that gives much more of a depth of colour. I was a bit worried about doing this because I wanted to stamp using the same colour, and I didn't want my stamping to get too lost if I was doing a solid colour of the ink to start with, but because you don't get a solid colour when you're brayering ink, it was absolutely fine. So here's that dark room door stamp, and I'm just roughly putting it on. I didn't want a blocky edge. So you can see I'm just smearing the ink up and down the edge of the stamp so that it's not just a solid line that it finishes in. And just stamping that down without a block. I just wanted to look nice and organic. It's just a very subtle background. I don't think the text even says anything. I think it's French, but it doesn't. I don't think it even makes sense when you read it. So it doesn't matter if it's just fainting in the background. So just adding a tiny bit more ink there to the right, and then bringing back in my block, and I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to use my fingernails to distress all the edges. Again, I tried not to distress, but I don't know why I bother because I always end up. And then decided that I wanted to stretch that mixed media out to the right hand side. It does show that in the sketch as well, that the right hand side of that diamond has some mixed media. So doing exactly the same thing again, just coming in with my brayer and brayering on some ink, and then I'll come in with that stamp and add some text. And looking at the layout now, it's almost all covered, but you can still see a little bit of it, so it probably was worth doing. So just a tiny bit more of this text, and then I can carry on building the layout. And as I say, I went through some really old stash today to try and do a bit of stash busting. I was getting on really well doing that a while ago, and then it's just sort of fallen by the wayside. So before I started this layout, I went through all my drawers and just pulled out some bits and pieces that I thought I might be able to use. This strip is a prime example. I'd used this on a layout the other day and just had this hanging out in a little pot on my desk, so I put that into my leaf caddy, that little ceramic thing that I use, and decided to use that. That Grateful for Your Heart piece is from a very old Ellie Studio ephemera pack, which is just, I've got a tub of all old ephemera bits and pieces, so I dug through that and pulled some bits out of that. So I'm just sticking this down slightly to the left-hand side of the page, and I will pull it up in a minute because it's a little bit too high. I'm just positioning that ticket. Again, that was just something left out from a previous layout. And this is where I just pull it up a bit and just bring it down the page, and I'm much happier with it further down the page there. So going to glue these two bits down. Again, still trying to use that ATG gun. And I think because I'm used to using wet glue that just sort of grips to the page, I'm not pushing down hard enough when I put the bits down. And as I try and tuck other bits under, they move. It's a great form of frustration. Now these two hearts are cut from an Ellie Studio heart die. And I cut it for a previous layout, and they actually happen to be from the Simply the Best collection again. So they work really nicely with this page. And then that rainbow is from Boho Baby, I think it was, Simple Stories. Again, it was just something that I'd cut out and then put in that little pot of ephemera that I keep in my drawer. There was a little ticket in there, this blue one, I think that's from the Indigo from 49er Market, I forget now, but they're ticket essentials. So just getting that stuck down because it says captured, and I quite like that. So just tucking that under the rainbow. And then I just wanted to put something in that gap there between the ticket and the point of the diamond. In fact, that gets covered. So I don't know why I was so worried about it. This Moments Captured is from the printables that we sell at Hey Little Magpie. So I'm just going to tuck that in under there. I think it was from the Set Sail collection, and then adding an epoxy dot on top just to create an epoxy flare. And then this 40 again, it looks like it's from a cut apart piece, maybe from Paige Evans or somebody like that, and it says 40, and it was my 40th birthday, so I just thought that was absolutely perfect. The pink matches really nicely with the pink on Amelia's dress, so I really wanted to get that in. And this is where I end up covering everything up. Look, that beautiful ticket from 49er Market is almost all covered, but it's still peeking out, and I love the layers that you get on a layout. Now this paper I'd used in the strips on the left hand side, and I noticed on the back that it had all these lovely circular word elements, and this one says enjoy this. So I'm just going to tuck that in. I lost the edge of it because it had been cut, but it's fine because it's going to be tucked underneath there, so that worked nicely. These are the only bits left I've got from the chipboard frames from Simply the Best, and this one said cheers, and because we're saying cheers that worked nicely. And you can see I'm making a mess with that ATG gun. Like I say, it doesn't seem to go where I want it to. So just getting those two hearts stuck down. I'm just going straight onto the page. I'm not really messing about with foam today. I'm just getting everything stuck down and overlapping those like that. And then I love this chipboard frame. This is from 49er Market. I think it might be the Serenity collection. And I decide that I'm going to use that to add my date. First of all, pulling this sticker out, again from the same collection, that says True Happiness. So I'm just going to overlap the photo there, and then I'm going to roll a date stamp onto some white card. The first stamp didn't work very well, so just redoing it. And then I'll stick that chipboard frame around it, or book plate it is, isn't it? And then cut it out and get that stuck down to the top of the page. So just using my small scissors just to cut really closely to the edge of that chipboard. And there it is, just tucked under there. So there are a few bits left in my little leaf pot still. There is a pink piece from 49er Market that says Live, Love, Laugh. And I'm going to add that shortly to the left-hand side below that, Pure Happiness and True Happiness. And I like that because it's bringing that pink across the left-hand side of the page where I've got it in the number 40 on the right. So that works beautifully. And then this little bow, which I just wanted to trim down. Again, it was from my little pot of ephemera. I felt the white was just a little bit too in your face, so I'm just cutting that down. So please do check the description box down below to see the playlist of everybody else joining in on 30 Days of Sketches. I am hoping to complete some more sketches from this series. I haven't done it every day like I normally do. Life is just way too busy this month, so I just don't have the time to dedicate to a video a day, unfortunately. But I'm enjoying the ones that I am doing very much, and like I say, I'm hoping to go back and get inspiration from the other ones. So this is an epoxy sticker from a very old pink paisley. So I think it was pink paisley. You will have seen it there on the screen. And now this is the sticker book from Simple Vintage Essentials from Simple Stories. And they brought out a colourful collection now as well. So I'm hoping to get some of that to mix in with this black and white. I do love, well, black and cream, isn't it? I do love these. I'm just grabbing a little foam heart to add so that I've got a trio of hearts at the bottom there. And finally coming in with some gold splatters, and that's the layout done. I really hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much, Tana, for the inspiration. It was a joy to create with this sketch. It surprised me. So thank you very much. Other than that, I shall see you all very soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.